But there is a game 2 right now. Let's see if Most Wanted can answer back. Otherwise, well, a lot of people would be quite shocked about the Smite Console League so far.
Absolutely. A team that comes from the Challengers Cup just to upset the #1 team, and then a very strong veteran of SOAR.
The funny thing is, we don't see this in America that much. This is a European thing where you come from the Challengers Cup and you do very well. Titan did it. Panthera did it.
True.
Well, now Energy did it. No one in America really does that.
I'm thinking about like COG Red, but they didn't.
The closest was probably you guys and Eager. That's the closest.
Not really.
That's what I mean, not really, but that was the closest thing North America's ever had for that.
COG Red didn't really go through. I mean, COG Red was the upset factor, right? During Season 0, you can say, where it was mostly Dignitas, mostly COG Prime at the time, and then COG Red, because they were scrim partners with COG Prime for so long, they knew the strategy of both of those upper tier teams.
But the difference is that they didn't like grind up through the Challenger Cup scene to get into the Pro League because there was none. So this is like the first time in North America we're seeing sort of this thing. Most Wanted, though, they are switching things up with picks and bans here. They're going to draft Athena for themselves this time instead of Koiz going for the Bacchus.
And I like this play because you said, like, you know, ban the Zeus, but I was about to mention that they should have banned Athena instead because of all the plays to set up the Zeus. But now, without the Athena, this makes Zeus a lot harder to confirm that chain lightning.
Well, the Susano has actually been locked in for Layers of Death here. They're going to take that one away from CynoSure as well now, so that's a very interesting one to see how this plays out. Bit of a different mix and matchup here. We'll see where the support for Aware goes, because he went Geb against Thor when he didn't get the Athena.
That's interesting to see that kind of a style, because Athena is mostly aggressive and then Geb is just so passive. You don't really want to go blink on a Geb for the initiation, because, or rather, you'd rather have a god different than Geb because you don't want to invest a blink and not have a teamfight relic.
I just want to mention as well, obviously, it's a different support this time around for Aware Gaming. They did just win that game with a substitute because it was Forger Vulcan, I believe. In that set, I'm not sure which one the actual sub is, whether it's Forger Vulcan or Kenshin, but one of them was in one set, one of them was in a different one.
And now this time around, it's Most Wanted with the Vulcan Athena, so that's going to be some great synergy for them. As long as they can stay grouped the same way Aware Gaming was for the first game, this should be really solid.
This is looking very much like the game against Thor as well. After game 1, Aware's drafting the similar comp to what they had last time round as well. A bit more defensive out of them instead of offensive. And they're against the Vulcan here. Zeus is pretty good against Vulcan as well, just for destroying that turret with the chain lightnings.
And I like the Neith pick because it changes the style of Aware Gaming. They were aggressive the first game. They're going to peel it back, it seems, with the second one because they're afraid of Most Wanted with this Athena-Vulcan combination. You have to find the counter engage. Susano's Typhoon, the Zeus ultimate, and a random World Weaver to come hit you.
Well, Freya, Sobek, Bacchus, and Najjar with the bans coming out from the boys of Most Wanted and Aware. And Aware get the next option here for themselves. Need some frontline here, so, well, why not some Erlang Shen? I don't see him as much of a frontliner as some say, because we see him mainly build damage most of the time.
It's not a bad idea to go damage because of the sustain from your ultimate. You get the shield health from your turtle. The Fatalis effect on his steroid gives him that flexibility to really be aggressive and dive your backline.
That's true, and that's what he'll be looking to do. But he's going to be against Wolves on that Ravana as CynoSure locks in Thor for himself. CynoSure does like the Thor for the most part. I will say now and again he goes off games with Thor. He has good games and bad, but for the most part, you know, he seems quite comfortable on it.
Well, whenever you have Thor and Athena, the middle is the plug and play. So I like the composition, the 3v3 composition for Most Wanted between the support, middle, and jungler. It's going to be very important if they can get this ball rolling in the early stages.
And Transonics going to go with the Ullr this time around for Most Wanted. And finally, Kumbhakarna is the selection here. He does help to set up a lot for Zeus, though, as well.
That's true. The Epic Uppercut can easily set up the shield chain lining. You can even drop down the ultimate before the land of the Epic Uppercut. So both teams have a lot of burst damage. I gotta give the mobility factor to Most Wanted because of the Thor global, but Susano is nothing to snooze at.
That's true. Susano is nothing to snooze at, but Athena as well, I guess, is the other thing. There's a couple more semi-global ultimates available at the minimum with Thor, Vulcan, and Athena on that squad.
Just have to be careful. And now Transonics transitioning from the Hui into the Ullr. He really likes these mechanical gods just to be able to outbox his opposition. We saw him get a solo kill earlier on to Cameron.
That's true, and this time around he's gone for this option. I guess against a Neith as well, you can be a little bit more aggressive on an Ullr. Your wave clear is a little bit more effective in the early stages than a Hui as well. And if he does backflip, well, you can leap after him and throw an axe in his face if he gets the opportunity to do that as well.
Or before you leap, you even have enough time to throw out the axe in anticipation of where the Neith is going to land. There's a lot of air travel time for that backflip. Transonics has a lot of mechanical capabilities to definitely land that shot.
Well, let's see what it can do here, because Cameron, for the most part, had a pretty decent game, I'd say, but he did a little bit over-aggressive, very Zapman-esque. Old Zapman-esque, let's just be clear there. But he was very much diving in with his team following up afterwards.
Didn't respect the damage out of Most Wanted in some situations. He got blown up before he even got a chance to use that ultimate. He expected his team to really cut the teamfight in half, which would give a lot of flexibility to find the tower, to find the teamfight dive. When you use your Gust into the agility, you have that Fatalis effect, so there is some merit to his craziness.
Well, funny enough, Aware do the same thing as what they did in Game 2 against Thor as well. They're just going to farm their own jungle this time. There's going to be no invade from them. They don't want to try it twice in a row, and by looking at that, you can see the passiveness of Most Wanted here, just trying to farm up theirs as well. A little bit of an advantage for Aware there.
You have to just switch things up in your style. You don't want to be aggressive every single game, but you don't want to be passive every single game, more importantly. So I like the fact that Aware is slowing things down already.
But the chain lightning, that's what happens with the turret. Look how much poke Clow got for free there. The turret still stands for the moment, though, but pressure is available for Aware to look at the right and Harpies.
With these archers still available, CynoSure wants to make sure he rotates to pick those up. Can't contest the rights in the dual lane, though. A lot of poke onto Forge or Vulcan.
And taking his Yawn at level 2 is going to force a lot of issues for him. The Yawn cooldown on Kumbhakarna is a little bit longer than you'd like, and it costs quite a bit of mana too. And with not having the Groggy Strike means you're not getting any damage off on the creeps. You're just going to slow them down for a moment.
And Forge or Vulcan only having 2 mana pots, so has to be very careful about expending those costs. The backflip from Neith is down. The dash taunt is good. Transonics could follow up with some poke, but he's only level 3.
He's only looking for Neith, though, it seems. Now he goes on onto the Kumbhakarna, I should say. But look, watch what Transonics did there. He sidesteps, knowing the Kumba Yawn is about to come out one more time. And once that's on cooldown, he's like, okay, I can patiently just line up this shot and get a little bit more free poke.
More poke into the mid lane between these two. The Layers of Death finding some onto CynoSure, less than half health. Has to be careful about overstepping.
Yeah, both those players do. Still on the right-hand side, aggression from Most Wanted. They really want to fight this Koiz and Transonics and try and put the beat down onto the Aware Gaming duo lane here. They've got to be a bit careful about overextension, though, just in case the opposition here of Layers of Death and the Susano tries to wrap around behind.
That's true, but at the same time, you have a Thor that could bail you out of trouble with a counter-engage ultimate, so it's not a bad idea to try to take advantage of this Kumbhakarna after he uses the dash to clear the wave.
Well, they're actually focusing on poke there, the boys of Most Wanted, so wave play is not going to be in their favor now because of that. So aggression does come out onto them in response and just going to chip away at them with that chain lightning as well.
CynoSure taking a lot of poke, forces a lot of potions, not too much mana on his side, and with this rotation, or it seems like I thought that the Susano was about to rotate and loop around underneath. That would have been a nice and solid play. Zeus is level 5.
Yeah, Most Wanted are kind of losing this middle lane just because of the fact what they just both did there as well, you know. One of them went on Susano and poked him, one of them went on Zeus and poked him, and they both cleared the wave first and poked back.
I love this play from Aware. They're zoning away Vulcan. He cannot get in range and preventing him from hitting level 5.
And he wants level 5 big, but there is the pull in as well. He jumped to the tower and Clow gets picked up. What a beautiful play from Aware.
Jet streaming with the confidence, recognizing he'll get the poke off. He'll only take that one tower shot in response. Thor now level 5 to respond, and that's going to allow Layers of Death to help Ravana get the first blood and so much pressure. This denies so much experience to Clow.
Yeah, that's very true indeed. And I love the fact that Clow, I can imagine Clow in base now. I hate you, CynoSure. I hate you. Why did you come this way? Why did you jump towards me?
And what's awesome about what Aware did was that when they were zoning, they forced out the stun from the Thor. If the stun was still available, that could have prevented Layers of Death from escaping the tower.
We're not just in the solo lane just yet, but you can see the two both contesting these fire elementals now. It's a little bit easy with the pin for Doctor to actually steal that one away if he wants to, but instead he's going to wrap around the back to go back to base instead here. Teleport available for him, so he will be teleporting in with full boot.
He didn't want to waste his mana too much. The boots 3 online is very important as the wave occurs, and now Dr. L, he has a power play because he could clear the wave and then prevent this Ravana from backing and maybe look for an invade, but the rest of his team is not in position to follow up.
Yeah, with Most Wanted having 3 members on this right-hand side, it's going to be very difficult for him to find the blue buff. He may end up getting picked if he's not aware of it right now. He does actually see him doing speed, just a little bit too late to steal that one away. Right Harpy's being looked at, however, Erlang Shen is behind 2 of them.
You're going to try to go for some play. Athena's going to find the taunt, going to get knocked up and taunted.
Again. And then the Typhoon was off the mark, otherwise Koiz would have been in a lot more trouble. Rotation, however, did come out as well from Wolves on the Ravana to slow them down. And Thor on the back, xBoronic's in trouble.
He has nowhere really to go, but the World Weaver connecting onto Wolves. Going to do a little bit of poke detonate as well, forcing Wolves back. His teleport's not available. This is going to give Erlang enough opportunity to steal the blue, I think.
Yeah, it's a good steal on the right-hand side coming out from Aware now because this is good pressure from Aware one more time. Ravana is back though. Wolves looking to try and contest his blue buff, but he's a bit low on health. Did he get it?
No, still available. He's afraid of the rotations. Dr. L has the pin. Maybe he's going to find the steal. Throwing distance.
Steals it away. So Aware coming with a very small win over that whole engagement. Nobody dies, but a blue buff goes the way of Aware Gaming.
But I like the fact that xCynosurex still makes the rotation because there's not much mana on Dr. L or health, and the jungler is not here. They don't have to worry about World Weaver.
And caught him, and he's in a world of hurt too. Berserker Barrage on the mark as well. One more hit's enough. Wolves gets the kill. He pays the price for stealing the blue.
Too much pressure, not having his ultimate to get him out, getting caught during the dash. No one really from his team to bail him out of that problematic situation.
So at least the speed buff goes the way of Aware, though. They don't lose that. The blue buff was left standing, though, waiting for Doctor to respawn here. But Most Wanted not going to capitalize on that for now. They'll take the Fire Elementals, sorry, the Fire Imps, I should say, on that left-hand side. And now they're looking at the duo lane where Transonics is slowly catching a level lead.
Yeah, Transonics just hit level 8. Cameron just hitting level 7. If he wants to, he can continue to play aggressive, but there's not that much wards to spot out the other side. Susano getting the blue buff on the right, but there's no vision on that side.
Well, you don't want to meet Kumbhakarna in the jungle, that's for sure. But he's no panic whatsoever out of Transonics there. And instead, poked Forge of Vulcan out a lot more than he wanted to be.
If you constantly poke out Forge of Vulcan and force him back to base, this allows your mid lane the freedom that they really need to. And now Transonics has solo farm, whereas Cameron is sharing the wave with the Kumbhakarna.
Well, in the mid lane, I mean, we saw those two earlier on today take on Saw in a 3v2 scenario and win that engagement. So I'm not too worried about him under the tower for now, but Kumbhakarna will get over there for that experience a little bit. Koiz hanging around the Gold Fury here. The war control is in Aware's favor right about now.
Dr. L is proxy farming between the tier 1 and tier 2. His teleport's coming up in 12 seconds. It looks like Aware, they're looking for somebody out of position. Transonics, though, he's so patient. He doesn't want to go past that mid-line tower.
Yeah, he's been very careful about how far forward he is going, right-hand side. Aggression in the jungle on Erlang Shen, though, as Clow is being focused out in the mid lane, too. It's going to be a 1-for-1 trade. Clow falls in place of the Doctor in the right-hand lane.
And that's just unfortunate because there's no Sanctuary quite yet for Cloud, so he's going to be a sitting duck now, 2 levels behind xBoronic, and it's going to be Aware starting the gold.
And there's your own magical damage as well, totally. I mean, if you take out the Vulcan, magical damage is a little bit less, so you can just build physical and deal with it. Gold Fury, as you said, though, been started up by Aware Gaming, and they're going to be able to take this one down as well after that lovely pickup of the kill on Cloud.
Great Gold Fury sneak, 7 minutes in. Now Aware Gaming a slight lead, 1,300 gold, not too much though. Experience slightly favoring Most Wanted. They're looking for a play though. They're maybe going to spot out Aware Gaming being rather low by Transonics, and they could call that for the rest of the team to start grouping up.
We'll see what they can do. Over to the right-hand side, and Doxy did fall down after proxy farming to 0-2. Wolves 1-0-1 here. A level lead at the moment between the two of them, and Wolves not scared of boxing them this one quite clearly.
Not at all. Even despite Dr. L being 1 level behind, his kit allows him to take these trades with the sustain, or rather the health shield from the turtle. Having that steroid, he could look for more poke.
Yeah, everybody rotating around to the right-hand side here. Athena and Thor on the way. Susano too. However, we don't see Kumbhakarna heading this way, so it's going to be a man advantage as they look for the pick on Erlang Shen again.
He still has the turtle to give him that little shell health, and now after the ultimate, buying a little bit of time, is going to pop it back up before the burst. Wolves forced to ulti away as xCynosurex getting hit by that World Weaver.
Yeah, that World Weaver came through, but not the target they really wanted. There's a bit of a difficult one to land that World Weaver through traffic. Koiz going to be stopped from basing. Teleport coming back online and through for Wolves. Means he won't lose any farm on this right-hand side. Good little skirmish, good little play from both teams, but everyone stays alive.
Clow was about to back, but decides to cancel it. Susano from back could find this kill.
Do you reckon he's going to find out?
He could. He's forced to use the ultimate.
Oh, the knock-up, though, from the meatball was good enough, and Athena rolled coming through. We'll give him a bit more protections, too. Clow stands tall for now.
If the Typhoon was used before he entered the midway, finding the ult from a distance, he would have been able to confirm all his damage before the meatball knock-up disrupted that combination of damage.
Yeah, very true. So people are going to get dropped on the right side there for Aware Gaming. Make sure they give it over 2 layers of death one more time and get the blue buff 2. You're going to see how far pushed up Wolves is up against against Doctor on this right-hand side, and that's because he's got no blue buff. But Wolves, well, he's going to walk into an army.
He's going to walk into an army indeed. There's no Gold Fury, so there's no response from Most Wanted. Wolves doesn't have the ultimate. Going to get rooted into place, but there's not much mana for Dr. L.
This juggle is great. However, Wolves does have his ultimate still available, but can he get it off in time? I don't think he can. And in the end, the kill goes the way of Layers of Death.
xCynosurex not wanting to commit his Anvil of Dawn, trying to save him. The ultimate, unfortunately, by Wolves was not available to disengage quick enough.
Yeah, great little play coming out there from the Aware Gaming boys. It was just Wolves being his usual self, looking at the blue buff, and then found two that he wasn't expecting there. However, xCynosurex may be able to catch out of position a little bit here onto Erlang Shen, but Erlang, well, he's got his blue buff, and he's still got plenty of in-hand damage.
And because the teleport is down onto the solo laner Wolves, he wants to be aggressive onto the jungler, Dr. L, winning the poke exchange onto Cyno, I would say.
Yeah, I think if Cyno hit that double tap, though, it could have been a bit of a different story in that one. But yes, Cyno forced back to base, just wanted to hold that wave, so he's not going to be too upset.
He's still going to hold the wave on top of this because of the fact that Wolves has to walk all the way back to the solo lane. This gives some flexibility for Aware to maybe go onto mid. The purification just finished.
And there's purification down again. Will we be used, rooted in place, but they avoid the Vulcan ultimate first of all, and then turn it around with a great play. Aware Gaming, they really are aware.
No Sanctuary onto Cloud means he's going to be a sitting duck. The purification only lasting 2 seconds. That's enough time for Aware to space out their crowd control and keep the Vulcan in place.
Damn, console's hot right now. Koiz is in a lot of trouble now, surrounded here, trying to charge away, but going to take a lot more poke and forced to reset again. One detonate is enough, and the way xBoronic holds that ultimate, and the detonator, I should say, very wise. It's going to allow him to get a free kill, and now the red buff on the left again.
Beautiful play from Aware. They just are always in position to chain CC between the Zeus and the Kumbhakarna. Last time it was the Athena, but they're still making it work. Forge your Vulcan, the flex, the God Pool is all very important for your support.
They just look better than they did during the relegations, so I mean, it looks okay in the relegations, but this looks amazing from them.
They're being put to the test against the #1 team from North America in the console scene, so showing what they really have.
They've already taken 1 game off Most Wanted. They've taken 2 off of Saw. Transonics, though, he wants to take the fight. Backflip has been used. That's a little bit further afield than he wanted it to be, so in the end he will walk away.
I'm surprised that the axe wasn't thrown a little bit quicker during the air
animation
backflip. Yeah, that would have been able to line up the stun as the Neith is coming down, which would have set up some of the more damage from bow stance.
Well, Clow has got Doom Orb online for his Vulcan here in the mid lane, starting to try and stack it up. Obviously 3 deaths on the side of him so far this game. Very focused onto, he's desperate for level 12.
He cannot hit level 12 if there's going to be this much aggression from Aware Gaming. His purification is still not available for another minute. He's just going to be content at farming those back right harpies. And Most Wanted, they really need to not allow Aware to exploit Cloud. They need to have better wards aggressively.
Well, look at this game as well. It's kind of the same story that I see him on the show when I see him play Thor. Sometimes I think he could be a little bit more aggressive than he is with his ultimates, but for the time being, he just seems to be quite happy to sit back and try and counter-initiate most of the time.
And that's not a bad idea as a Thor, especially when you have an Athena as your guardian. If you lose Cloud, it depends on what you can get afterwards immediately. There's some potential for Most Wanted to, because there's so much of a committal by Aware Gaming with the Zeus ultimate, the Typhoon. That's a good time for Most Wanted to force a team fight.
Yeah, true. With the Gold Fury just spawning as well, Aware Gaming going to ward it up and start to zone out the boys of Most Wanted. Got to keep an eye on Vulcan though, even though he is behind and they've focused him a lot. The Vulcan ultimate will destroy objectives from a long distance.
Gold Fury going to get started. A nice little yawn into the root. Epic uppercut, but Zeus is not close enough because of the Thor ultimate.
And CynosureX, he's going to force out Neith with the backflip there as well. Good detonate though coming out from xBoronic. However, round the back wraps Wolves now, and he really wants a pick, and they're looking for 1-2.
And the double tap connects and finally finding it onto camera, but meanwhile, Koiz falls in the back. Zeus is doing so much damage.
Boxing 2, going to force the purification. Meditate comes out though from Transonics, and now on the backside of things, xBoronic now being chased down, forced to Sanctuary. Going to get hit by the wall from Layers, and that's going to allow Wolves to go in for the kill. Will pick it up. Transonics credited with it.
That's a 2-for-1 now. Most Wanted. They have Koiz respawning. His ultimate's available, but Cloud falls. Layers of Death with a nice kill, and now he's going to retreat under his tier 1 tower teleport coming from the Erlang Shen after he got the tier 1 on right.
Yeah, I mean, it was a 2-for-1 exchange there, but I'm pretty sure you're comfortable if you are the boys of Aware Gaming there. Forgetting that tier 1 tower, not losing the Gold Fury totally, that still works out in their favor.
Absolutely, but now it's going to be Aware Gaming trying to find something in return. The jump from Transonics was used. He's at a half health. He's going to get pinned under the tier 1 tower. Could have potentially get turned on because the ultimate from Dr. L is still available.
I'm so surprised how brave Transonics was there. I mean, he had his purification down and his Sanctuary. One ultimate from Erlang Shen, you're going to get deleted off the map, especially when you leap down too, but Transonics held his ground. weathered the storm for now. So 7-4, let's go to the graphs and you'll see. So we do see a fight over in the right-hand lane at the same time. It's 2,000 gold lead for Aware.
Going to sustain off of that ultimate. Wolves' ultimate is still onto cooldown. In the air is going to be Xcynosure, but no follow-up.
Yeah, Vulcan with a good knock-up, just trying to delay them a little bit there, and we'll slow it down now. So Xcynosure heading back to base one more time. Right-hand side, Wolves keeping Doctor busy on this right-hand side as he tries to defend this tier 1 tower.
He wants to respond with a tier 1 on his own, but Aware is going to respond with a gold fear. Koiz looking for the dash taunt, going to get mezzed out. It gives Aware enough time to secure, but Layers of Death getting hit by the Vulcan ult.
And then a taunt straight afterwards. No cooldowns this time. Zeus dies for a gold fury. I'm still not too upset about that, though, if I'm Aware gaming.
But Most Wanted, they know what to do after getting the kills. And Dr. L, though, he's turning this around. Wolves getting the sustain with the root. The Athena ultimate, the ultimate from Ravana, avoiding the pin, and that's going to be a solo lane kill.
And Koiz soloed is what he's going to be saying on his own. He did all the work. Now they're going to get a tier 1 tower because even Xcynosurex was about to ult in on that one too, just in case. They get to answer that one back after losing the gold fury. Left hand side, Transonics looking for a pick here on Neith. Good axe to the face and going to push him out of position. He's going to be looking for a backflip if he can away from this. Juking out some of the abilities as well, but still being wrapped on by Vulcan. Reinforcements from Aware are here though to allow him to get away.
And doing a nice job juking some damage, but you can't juke out the World Weaver. Clow is getting attended on, but it's now going to be Transonics that's going to get focused. His jump is not available.
Archers, man, look at the preemptive purification coming out from Cameron there. He knew if that axe connected, it could have been spun on, but so instead, they pick up a kill on this left-hand side, and now they can put the pressure on. Meanwhile, mid lane being pressured by Most Wanted and the speed buff on the right.
They're going to respond with at least a speed buff after losing Transonics, but Neith still feeling very bold. Cloud taking a lot of poke, but LayersOD able to retreat before getting taunted under that tower. This gives enough time for Most Wanted to hold for now on the left.
Still no rotation coming out just yet. I say that Xcynosurex now starting to swing around in the jungle. Athena's trying to keep them busy, so we can see the wraparound of Xcynosurex. Neith's backflip on cooldown right now. Wall off the mark. Sanctuary used very early, which means it's a lot of free poke, but backflip should be up, and it is. But is the double tap on the mark? Well, only the single is.
And not going to find it. Going to go into the sky. The damage is not enough, but the detonate is. xBoronic making the rotation. Koiz going to go into the sky and lands to his death under the thunderstorm.
And this is the style of game I think Aware gaming like totally. This is what I'm starting to see here. They like the crazy fights all over the map. For some reason, it goes to their strengths. They like to see rotations here, rotations there. They are able to mechanically hold their own and allow for rotations back into these crazy fights.
And this is what's making them a very scary team right now, where they get the gold, they lose some members, but they answer back with some kills of their own because of Most Wanted. They just overstay a little bit too long. They're not able to confirm the kills, whether or not Transonics was diving or Xcynosurex.
In the grand scheme of things, though, I mean, when you look at the kills and things, there's been 2 tier 1 towers fall down, that's it, and 2 gold furies. That's all that's really happened in this game. These kills don't mean too much at the moment.
Not at all. Wolves getting focused on quite heavily, ulting on top with the Typhoon going to land. Not really much for him to do, but the Athena is going to make it a 2-on-2.
But the heal's already there for CaMeRxN as well. Thor on the rotation as well. Vulcan still holding mid lane. So it's a straight 2v2. Support versus jungler and solo. And one of his solos is going to die here. Wolves doing what he can to stay alive. Round the back, though, he's coming Xcynosurex, but I don't think he's going in the right direction to help his team. The wall comes through in time. Wolves dukes back on himself to stay alive. They're looking for the pick on the Doctor, but Vulcan takes out Clow in the mid lane. And now the rotation from Aware is on his way. They really want Erlang Shen, however.
What a great wall earlier on. Thor still in the sky. He's trying to land onto Erlang Shen, but the sprint is just too strong. Not able to connect. Now barely able to escape. The Zeus finds the chain lightning. Gonna wait for the Sanctuary. Gets the detonate. Now that's a 3-0 because Cloud died in mid earlier.
Well, they're gonna pull the Fire Giant for a second here because Neith just took mid tower. Transonics is still being shown on the tier 1 on the left-hand side. Only person here that could defend this is an Athena, but the damage is going to be good with a Zeus ultimate too. I don't think Athena can even get here. Aware Gaming are going to get an 18-minute Fire Giant after a sporadic fight across the map again.
This team is just insane right now. Just devastating all of Most Wanted. They're not giving up too much in response. They're not, even though they overcommitted, I thought that was going to be a nice turnaround because Xcynosurex had the perfect wall, allowing Wolves to escape on the top-hand side, forcing out the purification from LayersOD, but there wasn't much rotation because Clow was in mid lane on his own. He's still level 14.
And Clow actually got focused in mid lane while that was all going on because you actually saw, you know, the Kumbhakarna and the xBoronic on Zeus combining to bring him down. It allowed Neith to then rotate, take a tier 1 tower. Those boys moved over to that other team fight. Xcynosurex tried to even things up with a kill, but by doing that, he got himself killed instead.
Yeah, it's unfortunately not able to escape the rotation from xBoronic, just on point with all his Zeus play. And like you mentioned before in the first game, maybe they should have banned Zeus.
That's what I'm saying. I've seen him play this 4 times now, right? The first 2 sets, I'm like, all right, Zeus, fine. But Raijin was up. Why are they picking Zeus? Then again, game 3, they pick Zeus over Raijin. Why are you picking Zeus? What's it? And I'm like, all right, yeah, maybe you take this away from him. Because at the moment, he's always high on the damage charts. They can't seem to pick him as cleanly as you want to. He juggles his aggro very well with his relics as well. Oh, xCynosurex did not jump to his hammer.
He got crippled, unfortunately, by that pin from Dr. L. Nowhere for him to go. Gonna get chased down by the Mick, having a lot of attack speed. Pops the steroid effect. Gonna be able to pin him again with a cripple.
Yeah, the big thing there is the cripple. I keep forgetting that as well, Tolly. But you caught yourself doing it once or twice. But if you get hit by the center of that pin, it does cripple you as well as root, so you can't jump to the hammer. And that just made xCynosurex just got soloed over on that right-hand side. Meanwhile, away gaming, they get the Gold Fury off after the Fire Giant as well. The tier 1, tier 2 tower on the left-hand side is down. They've only got 2 towers left to look at.
8,000 gold in the lead, taking the red buff away. Transonics is going to get chased down by Dr. L. He has the pin available momentarily. He's going to commit.
Dr. L going to go in and try and make Transonics hold the elbow. Still with Ravana being there, he's going to make sure he backs up to his team. They get a tier 2 tower, and this Fire Giant still online for a good considerable amount of time here, Anatoly.
The discipline from Dr. L. Now, he didn't have his ultimate available to really want to dive the Phoenix, or because like trading the ultimate for purification would allow the siege a little bit easier to find a dive for Forge of Vulcan, but either way, great discipline, regrouping with tier 2 mid, now finding tier 2 on the right-hand side. Aware Gaming, though, they have a lot of gold in hand, so they're going to want to spend it before they go for some Phoenixes.
Well, I'll tell you what, guys and girls at home, you may not recognize their names because the casters don't either, but you might as well start putting them as household names right now in the console league for how well these guys are playing. They beat Thor 2-0. They've taken 1 game off Aware. They're going to about to take a second one off if they continue this rampage so far.
And they're doing it with a support that's substituting onto Forge or Vulcan.
What we've seen is Kenshin support for them, and they've also seen the boy Forge of Vulcan support for them. So one of them is main roster, which means whichever set it was that the substitute came in for here, it doesn't matter, they still won.
They have the shot calling that they need regardless. Having a plug-and-play support is a very impressive thing to do for a team because it's a frontliner that needs to be very confident about setting up the rest of his team.
LayersOD in the jungle, 7, 0, and 5 on the Susano. High the damage charts alongside Dr. L on that Kumbhakarna, and they're going to get purification again out of Clow.
And that's going to make it so much easier for Aware to dive Clow in this next Phoenix Siege. It's going to be probably Erlang Shen finding the pin from a distance, and then just more follow-up from the Kumbhakarna.
Good play from Kumbhakarna, though, this game. Forge of Vulcan, I mean, he's not got the typical blink that you like to see in him to be able to get in and get close, but he's still managing to find these areas to get there and close the gap with his throwback to get the yawn off.
Like you talked about, the Geb needs a blink initiation, but having Kumbhakarna means you don't have to go blink. A nice yawn, not forcing out the purification. As a result, Transonics going to be forced into the sky.
Bit of a missed time there, but Transonics is still under pressure, forced the Sanctuary away. However, Layers of Death going very deep for this one. Doesn't want to give up his first death of the game so far. However, a commitment from xCynosurex there doesn't find the double tap as Phoenix in mid lane does fall.
Wolves in a sticky situation. He's caught alone. The Chain Lightning Detonate is available, but Wolves should be able to retreat under his own fountain. Now, looking at the health pool, a little low is Layers of Death.
They're all a little bit low, but at least the damage deal is here. They've got to be very careful about how far they push forward. Wrapping around the back, though, is xCynosurex. 3-man taunt from Koiz is big. There's the follow-up as well from the wall double tap from xCynosurex, but the Sanctuary from xBoronic is going to keep him all alive, and now he drops the ult and turns a kill. 2 kills!
What a great Zeus ultimate. Wolves diving the back, finding xBoronic at least for the trade, but not able to find the Kumbhakarna. Vulcan going to find the knockup, but really has to be careful.
Well, it's Clow and Transonics versus 4 members of Aware Gaming. 5 minions will start to stream down mid lane here, but they're all very low Aware, and that Fire Giant buff has despawned on them, so that means they will probably dip.
And Transonics was thinking about it and Aware recognizing that they could potentially exploit this, baiting out Dr. L a little bit with the Neith World Weaver being channeled. I like the presence of mind from Aware with that play.
Maybe. Nice little idea for it, but they will strip the speed buff on their exit as well as the blue buff too. They're happy with what they got with that first situation there of getting that middle Phoenix, but now they need to return to base relatively quickly with this Fire Giant being available again.
Forge of Vulcan and Dr. L were battling each other for that blue buff. Dr. L already had a blue buff of his own, but it was fading away, and at this point, honestly, I would rather min-max by putting the blue buff onto Forge of Vulcan. He's been making really good offensive plays by diving the backline, forcing out the mez, and having that extra bit of cooldown reduction allows him to just keep doing it.
I think most probably walked into this going, who are Aware Gaming, you know? Oh, the Amigos guys that came up. That's what it kind of, may have been overlooked a little bit. That's kind of what happens at the high level sometimes.
It's possible that it could have happened, but it's not necessarily a fact because the way Los Amigos was playing, you definitely expect a lot of these SCL teams to be watching their games and trying to figure out what play, because even if you don't know these teams, they have a play style, and maybe you could adapt it into your own play style.
Here we go. CynoSurex up early. Firegiant is still high in health, and he actually misses everything there with that one. So now he's forced out on the backside. Wolves, Clow, and Koiz all position 1 run side, trying to support CynoSurex, but he already falls down, and the Yawn from 2, and the pull straight after, and the Zeus ult on top is going to spell disaster. The Vulcan ultimate, however, does a little bit of damage, but not as much as you'd like.
Not at all. Only level 17 Vulcan at this stage. He doesn't have 6 items online. He does have 50 Doom Orb stacks, but it's just not enough to get the Vulcan damage that you really want. It's going to be... But he is the top player damage of the game, respectfully.
He's doing a very good job, Cloud, considering the fact that he's behind the whole game, getting the most damage out. But
imagine he wasn't this far behind.
True, but look at the difference in the way gaming here, Tolly. Look how even it is between their 3 damage dealers. They're all in the top chunk together, evenly spreading out the damage. Shows they're communicating well. That goes as well with the assists, you see.
Absolutely. The team of Aware just playing so on point together. They're just grouped up, and now they're popping the shell and grouping up for the right side Phoenix. They're going to try to prevent Cloud from getting in range. A nice epic uppercut gets avoided with a backfire from Cloud.
Well, most wanted here. I don't believe they got defeated in a single set last split at all, and they're about to face their first split of the season. Sorry, their first set of the season is going to be a defeat here if Aware Gaming keep this going.
It's all about the Zeus play from xBoronic, finding the easy chain lightnings. Mad Koiz caught in an awkward situation. That nice little mess, not enough damage to really confirm the kill, but it's all up to Cloud to hold this. He finds Dr. L. He needs to find more as Thor goes into the sky.
Yeah, can we see CynoSurex come down well here? Well, the backflip was timed to perfection from Cameron. CynoSurex gets hit heavily as xBoronic forced to Sanctuary's Wolves is on him. CynoSurex, one more hit will bring him down for Cameron, but the unravel off direction. Transonics is looking to hold on that side too. He'll pick up Cameron. Meatball Mariana for Clow. He'll take out xBoronic here, but the damage coming out from Susano is too much. Layers of Death gets one, forced to purification, but he walks into a Kumbhakarna. The Athena's going to dunk in two, but the groggy strike on point. One little hit or two for the Kumbhakarna will get him, but Clow will peg leg his way back to safety.
Susano is going to be able to chase down Clow, so overall it's going to be 2 oh, he's not going to see Clow. Okay, he finally sees him with a jet stream, going to find the kill. His mobility should give him enough distance to get away from Thor. His ultimate's not available, so 4 for 2. Even though they didn't win that exchange, they got all 3 Phoenixes, which is what they came for.
Most wanted, hold the base, 15,000 gold down. The Fire Giant is off all members other than Layers of Death here. What went wrong?
Well, it was honestly just great play from Most Wanted, being able to take advantage of the mispositioning from Aware, because Dr. L fell immediately to the Vulcan, right? He was probably overstepping into the Titan room. He needed to regroup with the rest of his team and play off of it. And then we saw earlier Cameron was trying to find the kill onto CynoSurex. He fell earlier to Transonics, and it was just Most Wanted isolating every member from Aware Gaming constantly, allowing to find the kills. Now, they hold for now, but the lead from Aware Gaming, it's still too much. It's 14,000 gold.
And look at the Titan. The Titan's below half health right about now as well. Not only that, still 5 minions from every lane. The Phoenix is not due up for quite a while still. Maybe the one on the right-hand side is first up in about 1.5 minutes. But we could just see Aware group up for that one more time here. They're starting to group up mid already. And Erlang, Shen on the right-hand side. Dr. L going to make sure that right-hand side gets pushed in too.
They still have Firegiant on Layers of Death, so they're going to use that timer to decide whether or not they want to consist onto this Titan. But it seems like that's exactly where they're heading to.
CynoSurex going to go in and immediately go straight to xBoronic. They want the pick on xBoronic, but xBoronic is still alive somehow for now, and he gets the Zoom off again. 2 kills for xBoronic. He stands tall one more time. His team peeled to perfection for him.
And he avoided the Vulcan ultimate, and now this time Dr. L will not be denied by Transonics or Cloud. They're going to be able to go into this Titan room. Nothing that Most Wanted could do. They're going to lose 0-2.
They're going to lose 0-2. We need an Aware game, and they're going to climb themselves to 4-0. 6 points in the SCL on day 1 for the rookie team coming out of the relegations.
Zeus.
Crazy.
It's all Zeus for xBoronic. You mentioned it before, and I would have to agree with you at this point. I thought it was the Athena before, but after switching to the Kumbhakarna, it was the Zeus, man.
Yeah, man. I told you, Zeus is OP. Well, at least for the side of Aware Gaming, 6 points clear. 3 points above Elevate, who beat Kingdom early on. However, obviously, that's out. For me, it was all about Zeus. I don't know about you. I think everybody played very well on that team, though.
Oh, absolutely. They grouped up. We saw the player damage in the second game. It was all Cloud, despite him losing so many of his lives early on. But like you mentioned before, the next 3 was all aware gaming. They were able to be grouped up for so long. They found the picks whenever they needed to. They aggressed onto the solo lane, and they just kept aggressing onto Clow, shutting him down.
Just great work. And it also shows their experience in both the games as well, Tolly, because this is some of the games that you see towards the end of game 2 here. And this is one of the plays where they get a very good taunt off on him.
Yeah, they do, but the Sanctuary buys enough time to get some return damage off of that chain lining and the ultimate. They forced all of Most Wanted back into their base.
He still stayed for so long there. Wolves did manage to pick up one of the kills, but still got cleaned up by the boys of Aware Gaming. But they've shown different factors here, Aware Gaming, as well. That's a funny thing I'm going to say, because we saw Cheesy invades at the start, which people will call cheesy, but it's fine. And then game 2, they show the other option of things as well, where they kind of like sat back, didn't go aggressive, played a different sort of composition with a Kumbhakarna instead of an Athena, still made it work.
They slowed it down. They had Neith in the duo lane trying to farm it up throughout the World Weavers to allow Dr. L and Layers of Death to just keep being aggressive in that solo lane jungle, taking advantage of the immobility of Cloud. You know, Backfire is good enough, but it's not that good to really escape, especially only having Purification allows Xboronics on the Zeus to just continue guaranteeing all his Zeus damage.
Yeah, really rough game for Most Wanted there. However, Most Wanted, they do have one more set today, but it's against another very good opposition in Eager as well. So that's going to be an interesting one there. But anyway, enough about that. Let's go back to Aware. We've got on the line right now Layers of Death, the jungler for Aware. Layers, are you there?
Hey, how you guys doing?
I'm doing great. Where did you guys come from?
I don't know. CC, yeah.
But first of all, talk to me about this composition you guys are running, like your team chemistry and stuff. Because you guys, how long have you guys been together?
About a month now. 3 to 4 weeks, yeah.
4 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you all played on just Xbox alone before, on console before, or have you played PC before, or what?
I played PC for a little bit.
Okay.
It was only for about like a half a year, and then I came to Xbox.
Okay. And what about the rest of your team? Are you all mixed up together, or?
Kenshin came from PC, and then our other 3 are Xbox natives.
Gotcha. Just to double check then, Thor Vulcan was the substitute for this second set?
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome.
It seems you guys are so confident playing together. You guys were able to find 2 wins against Thor, and then you just completely, I would say, manhandled Most Wanted in that second game. Were you guys even worried about going into either of those 2 sets?
Most Wanted, yeah, a little bit, but Thor, we're just like, yeah, it's Thor, it's whatever.
So
I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like Most Wanted is like really, really good, so we had to respect them.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, you showed them quite a bit of respect in this game, but I do like your compositions. First thing though, can Xboronic play anything other than Zeus?
Yes, he can.
Okay, I'm just asking that now because like
3 or 4 other gods.
I'm watching and his Zeus play is amazing. He's probably like ground it a little bit harder than I expected, is what I was gonna say.
Yeah, absolutely great play from Xboronic, and you specifically also onto that Susano that last game, just ping-ponging between middle and solo side. Just great job overall.
Yeah. I feel like we all did really good together.
I think you did too, honestly. I mean, going forward though, what's your expectations? What's your plans for the team this season? Obviously, your first time in the SEL. What's your kind of hopes and dreams?
Make land, win land. That's what we're doing.
That's a dream.
It's an easy dream to have, but
it's happening.
I'll tell you what, it could be a very decent reality if you guys keep that up. Do you have any shout-outs before we let you go there, LayersOD?
Of course, my team. I love Caves. I love the new mid laner Xboronic. Of course, the organization Aware. Yeah, and Brandon, our coach. Really just like throwing everything out, telling us what to do and what not to do.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, LayersOD. Congratulations on your 2 victories today against Thor and Most Wanted. We will see those guys again in the future, I'm certain, because a lot of people will be looking at them, Tolly.
Absolutely. It's going to be a lot of action continuing on for the rest of the day. It's going to be Most Wanted against Eager, and the next after this break.
Spicy.